This is actually a really interesting situation. I don't think we've ever seen a scenario where one team is about to play another team and then they just traded a player to said team. And in the case of the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers, they are playing in about an hour and a half from the time that I'm recording this video, which is a pretty good indicator to see how fast I could edit this video if you guys are watching this right now. And they just traded Caris Levert to the Cavaliers. So I am curious to see how they're going to handle that. But before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications. The trade deadline is right around the corner, and I am pretty damn fast at bringing you guys the news. On top of that, if you guys want to watch myself, Mike Korzemba, and Get Like Coop yell at each other in regards to this NBA trade and provide some analysis, make sure you check out the Laced Up podcast. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, one of the most pivotal points in any franchise's history or future is their ability to seamlessly transition between various states. A good example that I love giving is the Atlanta Hawks. They have been so remarkable at transitioning from a #1 seed in the East from the 2015 season to being a horrible team for the next 2 years, to drafting Trae Young in 2018, and then eventually finding themselves once again in the Eastern Conference Finals during the 2021 NBA playoffs. But for every Atlanta Hawks, there are also teams like the Sacramento Kings or the Houston Rockets that, although they're doing a decent job at rebuilding, aren't necessarily doing it as smoothly as they should. The reason I'm saying this in regards to the Rockets is I feel like James Harden should have been traded for way more assets than they got. I feel like Russell Westbrook for John Wall ended up being a little bit of a deterioration in value for John Wall, mainly because they didn't utilize him properly or do what needed to be done to boost his value. But in the case of the Indiana Pacers, I have to give them tremendous props. They seem to be very realistic about where they are currently as a franchise, as about a month ago they reported that they are open to trading every player on their roster except for Chris Duarte. And when I say every player, I don't think they came out and specifically said Malcolm Brogdon, but for the most part, Miles Turner, Domantas Sabonis, and Caris Levert were all available to be had via trade. It's really interesting because the article cites that one of the primary reasons for them being open to making these trades is because the Pacers have faced the question internally and externally: can Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner coexist on the floor and help the organization take the next step in playoff contention? The franchise has remained patient by seeing through both big men and their potential together in their primes, but a breakup now seems to be on the horizon. In the past, team president Kevin Pritchard has tried to convince owner Herb Simon that a rebuild is necessary. This is including in 2017, but the owner kind of disagreed. Instead, the Pacers signed Darren Collison, Bojan Bogdanovic, and made a trade for Corey Joseph. And the owner of the Pacers has always demanded the Pacers put the best possible product on the floor, even if that means being a 7th or 8th seed and losing in the first round of the playoffs. The concern is a protracted rebuild will mean an even greater decline in attendance. But if you look at their attendance right now, it stands dead last in the league at 13,135 and 29th in terms of percentage of capacity. So the question is, how much worse can it get? As a result, the owner of the Pacers, Herb Simon, has gotten on board with the idea of a rebuild. And all they were seeking in return were some assets. And it seems like the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are overachieving behind Darius Garland's remarkable season thus far and the exciting young rookie Evan Mobley, decided to bite on this potential offer. Because according to Adrian Wojnarowski and Shams Charania, and for some reason also according to Adam Schefter, who retweeted Adrian Wojnarowski, which in my opinion is very, very strange when I see those two worlds collide, but I digress, Cleveland is acquiring Caris Levert in a trade. Now you might be thinking, what are the details of this trade, Mike? Well, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, the full trade is the Indiana Pacers are going to send Caris Levert and a 2022 second round pick via Miami to Cleveland for Ricky Rubio, a lottery protected 2022 first round pick, a 2022 second round pick via Houston, and a 2027 second round pick via Utah. So it seems like the Indiana Pacers are already beginning the process of acquiring draft picks in return for very good role players. You guys know I'm a huge Caris Levert fan. I think he's an absolute awesome player that can contribute to any team. And according to Adrian Wojnarowski, it seems like Levert is absolutely thrilled with the chance to return to his Ohio home and join an emerging contender with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He gives the Cavaliers a significant wing player who will be eligible for an extension this summer, and the Pacers get a Cavs first round pick and a Houston second that'll be in the low 30s. Woj continues to say that this is likely the start of a dramatic trade deadline makeover for the Indiana roster. Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis are among key players who remain in trade talks. So it seems like, just as Shams Charania reported on December 17th in that article that we showed you earlier on in this video, the Indiana Pacers are intent on going all in on a rebuild. This is the year to do it, because this is one of the most loaded draft classes that we've seen in quite some time. The depth in this draft class is insane. The top 4 picks appear to be trending towards all-star territory, and if there's a time to bottom out to potentially rebuild, you could accelerate your rebuild by doing it this year. So of course, there's no guarantee that the Pacers will get a #1 overall pick, but by trading Domantas Sabonis and Caris Levert and Miles Turner, getting first round picks for the future for this franchise, I think that you could see this team potentially being back in contention within the next 3 to 4 years. And you could take that to the bank, you could clip it, and you could keep the receipts here. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm going to admit, you guys are going to smack me in the face, but I'm actually incredibly excited about this Cleveland Cavaliers team. I mean, you have Jarrett Allen, you have Evan Mobley, you have Darius Garland, you obviously have Kevin Love off of the bench. It's a beautiful combination of youth and experience, and usually those teams do really freaking well when it's time for the NBA playoffs. Now, my absolute favorite part of this is the Cleveland Cavaliers could easily get the first seed this year, and they're 1.5 games back from doing so. So I give the Cleveland Cavaliers an A for this trade. I obviously give the Indiana Pacers an A+ for this trade. They were able to sell high on an injury-prone Victor Oladipo, get back Caris Levert, and in return for Caris Levert, they got multiple second-round picks, a first-round pick, and Ricky Rubio, who's out for the season. But once he returns, look for them to do something very similar with him. Look for them to once again try to elevate his trade value and then flip him for assets. This is what I like to call the Sam Presti method, and you're seeing a lot of teams execute this exact strategy to perfection, except the Houston Rockets. I'm sorry, I don't mean to hate on you guys, but you got to play John Wall if you want to get something for him during the trade deadline. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this trade? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
Lucas.